How are we all doing? Hope everyone's keeping well out there. So, sorry, just washed the dust down. Haven't had much time lately to be doing anything in the workshop, but I have picked up a few things in the last couple of weeks, which I'll talk about later on down the road. But this is something I was given a while ago by me pal who clears out the houses, and sadly, it got broke up before he got to it. It's a Majestic Model 160, and it's from the late 20s, early 30s. So it was actually in good enough nick. The cabinet, little bits of the cabinet were there, but totally smashed. And this was a radiogram. There was a turntable as well, with a big, huge pickup on it. But that was totally smashed. I had the speaker for this, which I'll show you in a minute. Huge, weighs a ton. This must have cost a fortune when it was new. It's an American made radio, so someone imported it into Ireland. And well, what else can I say about it? I don't know a whole lot about it. I've come across a few Majestic models online, but not this one. Although I did see a picture of one of these in a magazine. I can't remember the name of the magazine. A friend of mine seen it. He sent me a picture of it in the magazine. That's what I should say. Anyway, so sadly it's all smashed up. I'm not going to do anything with it, realistically. There's no point, but I just thought I'd give you a look at it. It's an interesting receiver. So I might try and open it up, but it's unbelievable. It weighs a ton, obviously. It's a super hit, according to the label on the back anyway. And it even has a strength meter on it. And OEF valves are here. I think it might have an RF stage in it as well, under this shield. Take the phone off the stand and give you a look at this. So you can see the setup here. This is the rectifier, and OEF valves. One of these might be an RF stage. We'll see when we get the lid off. So is the tuning dial, the drive, it's all stuck. That I think is the AF amplifier, and there should be two triodes here, 245 tubes, which are gone. I didn't get to see those, unfortunately. And then I think in these cans underneath, I think they're capacitors built into cans, and then that's the mains transformer there. So you can see a bit of dry surface rust on it, but you know, it wasn't bad. I'll give you a look at the speaker actually while I have the camera out of the stand. This is the speaker. Permanent magnet speaker with the output transformer underneath it, and I think it's a 12-inch speaker, and you see there's a bit of the cabinet left there. It's, I don't know not much about wood, but it's a hard wood anyway, and it was obviously a well-made piece of kit. I wouldn't say it just fell apart. I'd say they had to work on getting this asunder. And I don't know what the cone material is, but it's almost metallic. I think it might be like little like aluminium wires that are woven together. I think I'd be interested to hear what that speaker sounds like, but it's like very, very heavy to lift or move about. So I think what happened is, when we're moving the radiogram out of the house, it was that heavy they just broke it up where it was standing. Must have been a very old house, but yeah, an awful shame really. But these things happen, and to be honest, you can't give radiograms away these days. Even real old good ones like this, nobody really wants them, because they're just in modern houses don't have the space. So that's just sadly the way it has gone. I'll see if I can get it open. It's been open in the past. We can see that the screws are a little bit chewed up. I'm not exactly sure what way this is going to split open now when I have a go at it, but we'll see. If I had two output tubes on it, I probably would try and wire up the speaker and wind it up in the Variac just to see would it do anything. But, I don't, so I can't. But I'll hold on to it for a while, just in case I do come across a couple of 45s. I'll be interested in it to see how good or not good the radio is. So I'll be interested to know if anyone out there knows anything about this radio. Doesn't lend itself to servicing. So heavy. Right, I think we're split. Over it in. Alright. How will I do this? Right, so I don't want to do that. You wouldn't need to go to the gym if you were working on these every day, I can tell you that for sure. Let's see if it just hang there. Get that rectifier. It's 80, number 80 rectifier. Let's see if I can jam something under that. Should stop him. Okay, he's perfectly balanced there. Maybe I won't be running open the Variac anytime soon, but as I can say, right, so the cans, these are the cans here. So these are all the capacitors will be built into these sealed tin biscuits, probably in wax. That seemed to be the way they did it in the very early days. You see, it's mostly cloth covered wire, but a bit of rubber stuff there that's not looking great as well. There's a voltage selector in here under this cover and a mains fuse, and these are obviously the IF cans then. There's another capacitor here with a bit of wax coming out at the end of it. Yeah, there's not much in it really. There's like a big wire wound dropper here. Very early days of radio for sure. One of these big old dog bone resistors here. And one of the ends has come away wherever he was soldering onto. But a few there, not a lot. Obviously the majority of the resistoring is done on this big dropper here. And you can see we have a few more caps soldered in there as well. So you can obviously have a couple of caps in these as well. So yeah, an interesting machine for sure. But, yeah, I don't see myself doing anything with this now, funny enough. Sadly. Yeah, so that's it. I'll just get the cover off and have a look at the tuning gang. And we'll see what that is like. It is an awful shame that it got smashed up, but so you couldn't give one of these away now really. You see them coming up on the forums every now and again. nobody's ever really interested in them. They just take up too much space, and you can imagine even going about restoring one of these, opening up all those cans, trying to figure it out. You'd have to have a diagram because there's no values, which I'm sure you could get if you looked hard enough, but you know, there's a lot of work there. It's not like working on a 40s or 50s point to point wiring radio, you know. It was probably some old dear's house where maybe it probably wasn't used in 40 or 50 years or more even, but it was so heavy, and it was probably such a nice looking piece of furniture that, you know, it was just left alone. A lot of the large pre-war televisions ended up lasting that way, where they were so heavy to move and that they were just left. You know, they put a tablecloth over them or whatever. I'll just cut that for now. There's the variable tuning capacitor there, and look at that. 4-gang job. That's something else. It really is a piece of work. Yeah. That'll look well now on an amateur radio ATU or something. It looks like it'll probably handle a kilowatt or more. Real overkill. But, there you are. A nice piece of machinery, well stuck together. They don't make them like that anymore, that's for sure. Well, from a servicing point of view, that's probably not so bad, as I say. With these capacitors and these tins, serviceability wasn't wonderful. Anyway, there you are. That was just a quick look at that. I wanted to tell you about that. And I don't know what I'm going to do. What else can I talk about before I go? Had a bit of bad luck last week with me Variac. I was using this last week, and a load of magic smoke came out of it, and I thought maybe it was just the dust off the carbon, the settling on top of the windings, burning off. But so I turned it off and tried it again a few minutes later, and same thing again. Gave it a wind and there was sparks and stuff. Not good. So I opened it up, and what's happened is the carbon has snapped. Now it's not as simple as you might think, because the carbon is a special sort of a tapered shape. This is a 2 kVA unit, and so it's quite heavy, you know, and handle up to 2000 watts. And the carbon sits into a heatsink, and it's tapered into it, and then it screws in tight. And then the whole thing is spring loaded, so it's not just the carbon itself that's spring loaded. So I don't know what I'm going to do. There's a crowd in Dublin that do custom carbon brushes, so I might ring them and have a chat with them, see if they can make a tapered one. I looked at their website. They had every kind of shape of carbon you could brush that you could imagine, except for a tapered one. But I'm sure they could do it. Now, how much it cost will be another thing. But if they can't, I'll try and get it some sort of a carbon that'll fit, and try and foil it to the shape, you know. But so that was that. So yeah, things like a break, obviously. So I have another one. I picked up a while ago, and it's this one, which is a bit more practical, because that's very heavy for lifting on and off the bench, especially when you're only winding on a radio or something. So I have this one. It's a 3 amp one, and it came in a little box with a socket and an IEC connector. But I've actually taken it apart and I've painted the box. It's hanging up in the shed outside at the minute, drying off, hardening. And I'm going to put a little readout on it and a switch and a few other bits and pieces. So that should be more practical for using here. But I'd like to have the big one. If you're working on something a bit heavy. John had one in the TV shop. An ancient one, but it was 2 kVA like that one. It was all open construction. It was probably 100-year old, but he used to use it for when he changed the carbon brushes in a vacuum cleaner. He'd run them in at say 90 volts for a few hours so they wouldn't arc and dirty the commutator and that, to bed in the brushes, and that was very successful. So he used them for things like that. But anyway, that's the story. So that's where we're at. Not a whole lot more happening at the minute. I'm just very busy doing stuff around the house and that. The joys of being married and all that, but it's all good. So, I'm looking forward to the dark evenings, in the sense I don't really like the dark evenings in the winter. I do like the summer and a bit of sun, but from the point of view when you can't do anything else, you can retreat into the workshop here, and we should have more time to be messing around. So that's where we're at. So I'll catch you in the next one. I hope everyone's keeping well out there, and thanks very much. I must mention that a lot of new subscribers there lately, so I want to thank you all for subscribing. Hope you enjoyed the videos. Hope you don't find them too boring. We're trying to improve things as we go along here, but it's a slow journey. But thanks for joining me on it anyway. Catch you again soon. All the best and take care. Good luck for now.